Hi. We're laughing because, I was trying to remember what our title was.
We don't have a title yet. No. Welcome to Happy Hour with Ruth and Roxy.
I
am Roxy, and she is Ruth.
Okay, if we're a little giddy, it's because we might have had a couple of beers at lunch. Maybe 3.
Oh, it's been a week.
3? Okay.
It's been a week.
It has, but also, there's a thing, and I'm going to forget what movie it's from, but how they knew he was infiltrating the Nazis was because they say they hold up different fingers for 2.
What?
So there's a movie, and how the Nazis knew the guy, and I'll have to figure out, we'll have to for the notes do this, but there was a way, because they asked him how many people were there or something about a number, and he put up American the way Americans would say it instead of the way Germans would say it, and they knew he was a spy. There's a, we'll have to, I definitely, and
this is what my notes say: movie, Nazi signal, hand fingers.
So we had a little conversation the other day. We haven't been taking very good notes because we've been really engaged. And so all of a sudden, poor Roxanne, who does a lot of the editing of the podcast, is like, where's your show notes? And it's like, I didn't take notes.
I don't remember what we said.
Okay, so I'm going to do it. I'm going to do the, yeah, but it is an interesting thing about, and this honestly, we're going to have to get to what we're drinking, but it's an interesting thing about culture. What we do, I never know unconscious or subconsciously the difference between, so we'll have to figure that out for the next podcast because we have to clarify that. But whatever we do that's just culturally appropriate,
right.
Even if you could pass for something, and even if you're an undercover agent or something, you have to watch those things, and we forget that. Yeah. It shows the stuff you do that you don't realize you're doing, unconscious, subconscious, is something that shows the things.
It's
right?
It's true. You identify yourself by your mannerisms,
yep.
and there is, you're right, there's social and cultural stuff that is ingrained in us because of where we live and the time and the place in which we live.
Yeah.
That you might not be able to quantify. It's not part of the language study. You're not going to learn it.
And it's things that you do without even thinking. Like, for example, what I would call a midnight snack, she calls night lunch.
Oh, that's true. Night lunch is one of those very, very regional things because it's not even a Canadianism. It's a Saskatchewanism, and it's a particular part of Saskatchewan too. So, yeah, night lunch. It's the snack that you have at night.
Right. But the other thing, I remember saying to my friends that live in New Hampshire, and I was talking about something, and I was like, because I was looking for a San Marino, I'm going to forget the tomatoes, and I said...
San Marzano.
So yeah, that's it, see? But I said something about tinned tomatoes, and he was like, oh, that's so charming,
instead of canned.
Yeah.
And some people would say jarred, right? Like in England, I think they'll say tinned or they'll say jarred,
right? But jarred to me is homemade, whereas like tin is like the thing you got in the grocery store, right? Yeah. But for him, he was like canned, right? But it was really interesting because I never realized like we have this language that we don't know, right?
Ooh,
anyway, what are we drinking? Are you tired?
I'm already yawning. This is bad.
3 beers.
3 beers.
Look at my
for
poor crooked little fingers with arthritis.
Also, oh wait, one of mine went down. That's weird. How did that happen?
Hi, little dog.
Not to you.
Hi, buddy. No, that was just to the universe sometimes. Yeah. Okay, what are we drinking, Rox?
Cheers. We are drinking shocking. Oh, look at who's joining us here. Would you like
we
some
love
of this? He's such a pain right now.
He's learning his stuff. Hi, buddy. He's a teddy bear.
Surprise! Stoneboat Bubbles.
It's our favorite.
Our favorite.
So honestly, if you like bubbles and you like Prosecco, and we really like lots of different Proseccos, but this one is my fave.
This is really, really easy drinking, and it's $17 a bottle.
Yeah, if you're a member.
So, yeah, if you're a member.
It's probably like only $20 if you're not.
Yeah.
But it's worth, honestly, if you see it in for those of you in BC, if you see it in
it's delicious.
You know, your local grocery store, because some sell it now, or the liquor store, try it. It is, and Stoneboat is, they're
a good winery.
Oh my God. And they are so customer service oriented. Yeah. And if you ask questions, like they are so lovely. And we will have to tag them on this because I think we talk about them a lot and we forget to tag them.
I tagged a few. I went through our whole list of podcasts and I updated the show notes and I added the little follow us here and there.
Oh, that's good.
Added a couple of things. So yeah, I'm going to try and make sure to do that because that's important. Like this is happy hour, so we always have a glass of something, and we want to recognize the wineries that we really like,
places,
the great ones.
Yeah. But also 2025 is going to be our year to grow this community because honestly, it would. dogs. But honestly, it would be nice to grow this community enough that we could maybe do some cool things, like a wine tour in Kelowna.
A wine tour? Oh
or
my
a
gosh.
wine tour
if
in
we could
a different
invite,
country, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Wouldn't that be fun?
Right, but we have to grow the community.
Yeah.
We have to figure out a thing that, I don't think we need it to be hugely profitable, but it needs to be enough to sustain us so that we keep doing the work. Because it costs, like we just talked about it, it costs to, like, there's website hosting, there's the domain name, there's all of this stuff, right? Like there's all the things. And so if we can grow the community enough so that it doesn't cost you anything, but we
can get a bit of sponsorship,
or even the stuff we recommend. If you link, it doesn't cost you any more, but we'll get something back from it. Like what we're trying to do is grow a community where we're never going to recommend something we wouldn't use ourselves, but also, and it's not going to cost you anything to link through. Right, and that's because that's a win-win, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what our focus for 2025 is like we're going to try to do that kind of thing.
As I was going through them today, here we go.
It's okay, it's happiness.
As I was, so you're going to see just how clumsy a 6-month-old puppy is. He can't find his feet, even on the floor. Like they just disappear out from under him. He's like, "Where did my feet go?"
Okay, for the record, sometimes I can't find my feet.
As I was going through the podcast, I was looking at the very first ones. Hey, stop it. It's enough. Because we have titles for all of them.
Yeah. Some are random.
Most of them. Now we have titles for all of them, but we didn't. And the earlier ones are like, we don't know how to do show notes yet, so we're not doing them. So I just added little things like, still learning. Yep, still learning. And we're still learning.
And the fact is, we are still learning.
Of course we are.
But the magical thing about that is what I hope it shares.
Hi, baby girl.
Now we've got Luna here, who has got a little bit less attention because she's not quite as...
She's coming to us hoping for saving. Save me from
Look at how cute he is, though. Honestly, he's so cute. But so one of the things we've been talking about is this is supposed to be happy hour, and I know we've had some dark moments lately and stuff. So today's is going to be about joy. And also, just as I'm saying this, in 15 minutes, this week's episode is about to launch, and I didn't promote it at all. So I will promote it after this.
Well, hopefully, did you get a notification about that?
No, am I supposed to get a notification?
No, I'm like, okay, that's good. Well, I hope,
go see.
Because Ruth usually posts it, but this time I set it all up, and I'm like,
here, I'll go check. As you're talking, I'll go check.
It's fine, but also,
I'm sure it's fine.
There's I never remember the word for what happens to the video as it's
rendering.
I call it composting because I'm like, it's
rendering.
Composting, it's processing, it's
rendering.
It's rendering is what it's doing. But I'm always like, it's doing its fancy thing with the wheel of death, And anyway, so it does that for a long time, so you can't see exactly what's happening before it starts happening.
Me just see. Oh, I'm just getting an episode. Hang on. I gotta log in or something.
Yeah, you do. Oh.
Okay, anyway.
My God. Can you hear all that crazy upstairs?
Okay, anyway.
It'll settle down momentarily.
If it's not already up there by 4 o'clock when we finish, we'll get up there, because I promise you there are a couple of like very loyal followers, including our friend Beth and my sister Bev, right, who will be like, where the hell is it?
We have a few very loyal. Your sister, my sister, Leanne.
Leanne.
Yeah, we've got
our friend Jackie.
Yeah,
it does that.
Yeah.
Beth is absolutely, and there are people, and it was like, especially when we scrapped with the technology, it's like, not to be a problem, but excuse me, could you tell me where it is?
Where are you? Yeah. Where can I find you?
Except my sister, who's like, what the hell, man? Where's the thing? Right. Anyway, but this is about joy. So we're going to talk first about.
So I'm just going to say, for joy, my dog just came skidding past us,
it's
right
like
into
the Kramer thing,
right into the water bowl.
It's a Kramer thing.
And
that
then,
dog and water bowls, man.
Feet. He's like, water, yeah. Anyway, he finds joy.
That dog and feet. He does find, and I got to say, like.
And we have a towel sitting out there
But he's really funny because honestly, when you see his face, and I'm not going to put my hand in my bubbles, but it's like he puts his paw in and he kind of looks around like, what the hell is this? Look at and he's kind of like, where did this come from? And it's like the water's in the same place in your house and my house all the time, but he does it and he looks around and then he like and every time at my house, Roxanne's like, oh my God, I'll fix it. And it's like, first of all, we're all here and we're all here. We can just throw a towel down, right? I'm a dog person. They're dog people. It's all good. But it's like freaking hilarious when you see him and you can see him going over and he's like,
he thinks about it.
What is this wet thing?
I think I should find out.
And it's like, it's not like he hasn't touched water before, but every time is new to him. It's like 50
But you know what?
States.
One of those times he might hit the edge and it might go... And that's super exciting. It's like hitting the lottery.
Handsome. Look,
it's like wheel of fortune.
He's like our own little monkey.
Oh my God.
He's so cute. But he is really cute.
Somebody needs to groom him.
No. Oh my God.
And when I say somebody, I mean me.
But the other thing is she says that, and I like his boho hippie funky look.
I just bought a professional slicker brush for Canadian, $110. I'm like, it's a brush. Okay, so I've never had a brush for myself that costs that much money.
Okay, also we're walking the dogs and she's like, I just bought a blah 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 slicker brush, and I'm like, what? Like it was like, is that a marital aid? Is it like, what are you telling me, Roxanne? Right? And then she explained it was a dog brush, but you should see out in their garage. We'll have to take it. You have to take a picture of it. They have like a really cool grooming station, right? And you know, honestly, if I tried to give Scruffy a bath or a shower, he's like, the world is ending.
Well, you'd have to come do it in our tub. The grooming tub is a thing, but yeah.
But also our dogs lick a lot. I don't think they need baths. It's disgusting. Especially when you're laying at night. And so that's why.
Yeah.
That's why, like, then I put both my headsets in, even though it's not good because I sleep on one side but I don't want to hear the licking.
It's gross. The licking.
It is gross.
He doesn't do that yet, but Luna does. And when she does start licking, I'm like, all right, that means something needs a bath. We got to wash all the things. Got to wash all the things and put cream in all the crevices.
Yeah, mostly for my dog, for Chalupa anyway. It's just his feet, so I just wash his feet.
It works.
Because also, we walk rain or shine.
Yeah.
And some days.
Yeah, we do.
Some days, my dogs are soaked.
They're totally soaked. Yeah.
So I figured that's nature's way of cleaning.
Wow. The other day we took them to the off-leash dog park here, and it's a lovely place. Yeah. And we just throw sticks. Luna chases the stick. Neo chases Luna. Yeah. But they both get a good workout. It's fine. It's just that it's the grass is mostly gone in there, so it's muddy. Yeah. So we did that. That's fine. They had a great time, and she's white and short. And here's what we realized about her: when she runs, like she doesn't just run, but she is like full out. And when she stops,
she gallops.
She skids like. Have you ever watched cutting horses, like quarter horses?
Yeah.
When they do the circle, like they're down, their butts are in the sawdust. Yeah. That's how she stops in the mud. So she skids to a stop, and mud goes like all the way up her hock, like halfway to her tail. So she needs a half bath afterwards. He doesn't. He's just running. It's just on his feet, and he's bigger, so it doesn't go all the way up. So we did the dog park thing, then we walked them around the community, and then we went to the creek, and Ray said, you know what, give them to me. And he's like, just plops them both in the water. And they're both like, it's really deep, and it's really fast right now.
And
like,
it's cold.
Swept away, and it's cold. He's like, just go in there, get your feet washed, and then we come to the house. Right? And then we just have to towel them off.
So we'll have to do the picture, because we did, a while back, we got our 3 dogs, and it was a buddy that did it. So we got a deal for 4 of them, and we got Luna. But it was her from a picture that they had shown us, and it was Luna in a mud puddle. And we'll have to put it in here somewhere. But it is a really cool little. It's a really cool little Disneyfied thing, right? And that's exactly Luna to me, because man, if she sees a mud puddle, nothing makes her happier.
I love it how people are like, oh, I don't like poodles. They're so prissy and so perfect. And I'm like, have you met any poodle? No, they're not. They do need a fair bit of grooming, but they will. Oh, they are dogs.
They're dogs.
They are dogs. Yeah. Holy smokes.
We used to have a dog, Sassy, and I'll find a picture that we can put in. But Sassy was like, honest to God, if she laid on the dog bed, it was like Princess and the Pea. If there was like. Because I used to work when we weren't over here where we had our own offices. I used to work in the living room because Paul had an office, but we couldn't be in the same office because he's way too organized. Murder. Yeah, but I would work out with Sassy, and sometimes like a piece of paper would slip away, and it might get under the dog bed. Not that I'm messy, but Sassy.
I've seen your office.
Oh my God,
yours is like mine.
Oh my God, it's chaos. But Sassy. She would get on this beautiful plushy dog bed, and if something had slipped under, like a piece of paper, she would move around and she wouldn't like it and it was awful and she would look at you, like accuse you. And then we'd be walking on in Gibson's, we'd be walking on the beach and there'd be a dead fish and she'd roll in it. So this princess, right, would be like, and I saw her, I could see the look in her eyes and it was like, get her, because we could be off leash there.
Death and decay.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they love
like,
it.
And it was so fun, because honestly, like, there are times when she'd come and sleep on our bed and you know how the blankets get a little, right? And she would be like, no, like, fix that blanket before I lay down.
That's funny.
And meanwhile, it was just like, dead fish that's been here for 3 weeks. I'm all in. Oh my God. And if she ever got a dead seal or something, holy crap, that was like Mardi Gras for her. It was disgusting.
I have really clear, I have a clear, what's it called? The sense of smell? Olfactory memory of.
I'm glad she has the words.
The smell of a rotten squirrel. Because when I was a kid on the prairie, on the farm, right? Like my dog would go and you know, they'd find, like you say, they find dead stuff. It's green, right? And you come back and it's like, you've got green slime all up and down you and it smells like
rotting flesh.
Oh, it's death. It's death, but worse. Yeah. And they love it.
Yep.
And you're like, so what smells bad? So we have this product, or we did at the time that I was practicing. I don't know if there still is anymore. It's a thing that you put into the dog food so that the dog's shit tastes bad, so they don't eat it. And let's just unpack that a little bit. Something that makes poop taste bad. Right?
Okay, but then
you're starting with the premise of poop tastes good, but the dogs are trying to eat it. So anyway,
like cat poop. Like
oh
my God. So we ever had the like Scruffy and Chalupa haven't been in the vicinity, but we had dogs when we lived on the float home, and our friend used to babysit them, and they would go to her because she lived right across from us on the float home, and they would go to her house, and she was always like, you know, when your dogs come over, I never have to clean up my litter box. And it was like, stop letting them eat that.
Gross.
Like, it's disgusting. But apparently, because cat food, I guess, tastes better to them.
Yeah, so you know why?
Why?
Because cats and dogs are different. Dogs are actually omnivores like us, right? Like, they don't actually need meat. But cats are obligate carnivores. They have to have meat. So their food is way higher protein. So their poop is way tastier.
Like, it was like,
you know, relative to poop.
Right. But like, that's right. She would always laugh. And I mean, she was also the one that taught my dog when she brought out the whipped cream container. Our dog would open its mouth like this. I'll have to find the picture of Sass. But it was like, and she was awesome.
Is that Sassy?
Yeah. And honestly, it was like, well, I'll have to find that picture of her. It was a Thanksgiving. And I was like, what the hell are you? And then it was like, I'm not leaving my dogs with you anymore, man. But I have to say, it was pretty funny. Right?
That's funny. That's awesome.
But, okay, so let's talk about the good things in the world.
As opposed to poop? I thought that was pretty good.
Okay, you know
I kind of like that.
We talked about bum things, and we've talked about we've talked about eating poop, and you know, there's a bunch of stuff.
Eating poop, dogs eating poop. That's different.
We have to clarify because you know we don't want to become a meme.
No,
but
we're not going to be.
Let's talk about the insanity I've committed to.
Yes, the insanity, and you are doing it.
I am doing it.
And you're even ahead of the game, I think. Are you ahead of the game yet?
Not today.
Wait, what's he got? What has he got?
I've been
contraband.
Contraband. What is?
Oh no, it's a toy. When he runs like that, it usually means he's got somebody's underwear, a sock, or a shoe.
Okay, I have to tell. So this goes back to my neighbor on the float home. Mm-hmm. So I had this old dog named Jackson that nobody was adopting at the Toronto Humane Society. And then he moved out with me to a float home. So this downtown Toronto dog came out with me. And my crazy neighbor, who I love, right?
Is this Mare?
Mare, yes.
Okay.
So one day, I'm kind of laying on the couch watching TV, you know, reading a book or something. And I see Jackson, who was a 80-pound golden lab shepherd-ish, like he was a mutt, right? But he was a big dog. I see him skulk by me, and the way he was moving made me because for a long time it was me and Jack, and all of a sudden I see him skulk by me, and I kind of look, and he had a ham this big because Mare was like, well, I need to cook this, but I'm not, like, I need to eat this, but I'm not going to eat it. So she gave it to him over the thing, and he was taking it to my bed.
Oh my gosh!
So I caught him with it and took it away, and he was not happy with me. I'm not sure she was happy with me, but it was like, that's going to give my dog the poops.
Yeah. Or pancreatitis or something.
Yep.
Oh, badness.
No,
Oh, badness.
Yeah, but
Wow.
the only way I knew it is like what you knew.
Yeah.
He had a different, it's like kids, right? Yeah, I've got this. I've got
evil,
this.
the
Yes.
evil.
But anyway, so I've committed, I did this in 2018, 2019, which actually kind of makes sense given, what was going on in the world then. And I wrote,
interesting.
365 days of love notes. And sometimes they're short and sometimes they're longer. And because they're kind of attached to the podcast, poor Roxanne has to edit them now.
I'm happy to do it. She's easy to edit.
But so far, I haven't written today, so you'll get it early tomorrow.
Okay.
But it'll be a short one because I have to. But you know what? What I found was, because I've had a bit of a challenging time since the U.S. election, and for a bunch of other reasons. But writing them makes me zero in on the good things in the world, and that's really important to me. Are you trying to figure out where he is?
Looking. He's there.
But it's definitely a commitment. I think I'm on number 7 now, and there are moments when I'm like, what have I done? But you know what? I'm getting responses not just from the people reading them, but like I did one for my friend Lulu that was a food tour person that we met in Paris, and I adore her. But I sent it, so she's building up she wants to build up a tour company where she takes people to India to do a food tour and stuff like that. And when I put it up, she messaged me and she said, you have no idea how important this was at this time. Oh. Right? And something you said really resonated, because when I was talking to you about it, you said, so there are 2 things there. Like, A, there's some universal energy you're feeling about the people, but you also said, most people need encouragement. Right?
And that's what I think. I think that, like, you did the first one about me, and I'm like, ugly crying in my office, like, it's good, change the comma, like, but it was so lovely. And I think that probably everybody who's a subject of it is going to feel that way, because everybody needs that kind of encouragement, right?
Yeah. And just to be recognized for who you are, because honestly, for the most part, certain people accept it. Hi, sweetness. Everybody's got a magic to them, and we don't get recognized enough for that, because people are busy and we do things. But honestly, I get more from it than I think the people I write about, or the things. Yeah. Because it has changed me. Like I was spiraling.
You were in a bad place,
right? And this has really, really helped. And I hope that you guys will go and see them, because they're like, even the one about Lulu is like, you don't have to know her to get how great she is from it, right? Like, it's not like, ha ha ha, here's our thing, right? It's like, also, here's this person.
I kind of want to go to India now,
right? And meet Lulu.
Yes,
right?
Totally.
Like it really is. Okay,
I have really.
Your dog is in my pocket.
Makes sense.
Also, just for the record. Oh, maybe he's in my pocket, because all of a sudden I got here.
He wants the socks.
And I got here and I was like, I have socks in my pocket, and I have no idea why. But we had 3 beers at lunch. So.
You never know when you're going to need a pair of socks,
right?
But like, there's so many things on a day-to-day, a week-to-week basis that are challenging. That come at us that are challenging. We realize things we've done wrong, things that we have just screwed up on, or not been our best at, or we're discouraged about something, missed. Or whatever, or missed,
or somebody else did something that made us like there's just so much in real life, right?
There's so many reasons to not feel great about yourself, to have somebody highlight you in a love note like that, and just recognize the things that you're great about feels amazing. Like, and to give that to someone else also feels amazing, right?
Yeah, well,
and
that's
what I'm
was...
seeing the difference in you, because you were in a dark place.
Oh, I was in the swamp.
I'm like, what's going on with her? What is that? I'm walking every week with her. Is she still going to come out? Is she coming out? Is she coming out at lunchtime?
Is she in the crawl space?
Is she in the crawl space? Do I have to go and like haul her out?
But it is, and what it does is remind you how good the world can be, right? And the thing is, I don't get to highlight everybody. I mean, and honestly, some
365 is a lot.
It is a lot, but it also, like, sometimes it just sort of somebody like what twigged Lulu was because Paul and I are going to Thailand, which honestly, by the time you guys will be in Thailand.
Yeah, that's right.
Right? So
they're in Thailand. You're in Thailand right now. You are time traveling.
I am time traveling.
So cool.
But like, I asked people, because we're in Bangkok, and then we're going to go to Phuket, and we stay in Patong Beach, which has a really dark side to it, but where we stay is beautiful and lovely. And in fact, when you stay in the good places, that encourages people to work in the good places and not be the. Okay. And then we're going to a place called Panwa Beach, which we call Dog Beach, because they have these beach dogs that honestly are homeless, but they're well taken care of, and they get to sleep in the places. Yeah. But those are places we know pretty well. But Bangkok changes day to day, right? And so I asked who knows good restaurants in Bangkok, and Lulu messaged me, and she gave me this 15 thing list.
Did you know her before this?
Paris. From
Paris.
Paris, right? Yeah. But I followed her and I've encouraged her because she's been doing this stuff. So we've been talking about when she gets her thing together, I will happily help promote her tours. And I was like, I'll go. Somebody that I trust that knows food and knows culture, I would happily go to India. Yeah. But Lulu took the time to send me places, to send me a list of places, and so it crossed my mind, and it was like how much I truly adore her, right? Yeah. And so it was kind of like, I should write about Lulu today. Right?
Oh, I love that.
And then, but the thing is, then it landed, and I guess because Lulu is working, she is a culinary specialist, and she goes around, and right now I think it's Malaysia she might be.
Okay.
Or she's somewhere, right? And she moves around a lot, and because she goes to work for these great restaurants, right?
Okay.
And so I guess it landed at a time where it's hard to build a new business, right? And it's hard to do the things and to put out all the money ahead of time and all the effort. Yeah. And then you start thinking, will anybody ever do this?
Right.
And so it landed at the right time. But it is also however it crossed my path anyway, it's kind of I could write about this because it reminds you of the good. And I have to say, because when I did in 2018, 2019, sometimes I wrote, I don't really have anything right now, you guys. Tell me your love stories, right? So it makes it interactive, so people can come back and say, "Well, here's what I found." Because some days it's hard. And I just wrote about today. I wrote about happy hour, and I've written about blue sky, which we're going to talk about, right? But it's just finding the moments of joy. Yeah. So if you have ideas for a love note, tell me, because I am happy to investigate. I am happy to learn about somebody magical in your life, right? Yeah. But also, what we talked about, you were the first one because I think it was your birthday. But also you had the book coming out.
Yeah, that's right.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is a good segue. Let's talk about your book.
Well, I survived. The fourth book in my 4-book series is out as of yesterday. Yesterday was my book birthday. And
yesterday, not yesterday when you'll see this.
No, that's right. So it was November 21st. It came out, and you guys, it's somewhere around 30, the number of books that I've written now with these 4. I think it's about 30, 31, maybe 32, and
that's a lot of books.
This is and I started, we were talking about this at lunch actually. I have kind of the mixed distinction. I wouldn't necessarily say it's a cool thing, but it's an unusual thing.
What we talk about at lunch?
I got the very first book that I wrote. I went to my very first writers' conference. I had an appointment with an editor. The editor said, "Ooh, this is interesting. Send it to me." I sent it to him, and he published it. Now, it didn't go anywhere. It didn't sell many copies, but I got the very first book that I wrote published.
But let's go back. That was before the internet was really a thing.
Yes,
right. That was before you could self-promote.
I want to say 2006, maybe something like that.
Right.
Yeah.
So and I can tell you this, and I know this because in 2000, I was at Vancouver Film School, and as the director of PR, and they just started in 2001 the new media, which was about to be back then.
I remember that,
right?
when new media was a thing.
But that's the thing, right?
Yeah.
And so think about that. By then, we didn't have Twitter. We didn't have Blue Sky. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have LinkedIn. We didn't have any of those things. Yeah. So the fact that you got published and that it didn't get pushed out is because it wasn't a huge advertising budget, marketing budget.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
But the thing is, her first book got published.
Yeah.
right? Like,
And
you know
it's
what I
not-
mean? Like,
it's not great, but it was.
it's not great.
It was
in retrospect.
In retrospect,
But
yeah.
to be fair, you got your freaking book published.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. And since then I've learned a whole lot. I've switched genres. I've changed
Wait,
direction.
can we
about
just go
things.
back for a second?
Sure.
Say that was amazing achievement. Your first book got published. I'm trying to get her because she is so dismissive of her abilities. Her first book got published.
I was taught from the time I was born to not brag, to boasting is bad, pride is the number one sin, and it's really hard to change.
And I get that, but her first book got published. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I have lived in this world, and I still do a freaking happy dance when anything gets published, let alone a book that is hundreds of pages that took someone to understand plot lines. And,
I didn't know anything. You want to hear a funny story about it?
But you told a story that was
true. Yeah.
that had a narrative, right?
I wrote the book. I sent it in.
He wants my socks.
And he says to me, "Oh, this is great. We're starting a new crime imprint. We're going to put it as part of our crime imprint." And I went, "Crime? What do you mean?" And he's like, "Well, it's a murder mystery." And I went, "It is? Oh, cool. That's cool." And then I'm like, "Shit, he said it's a murder mystery. Oh, wait, somebody did die in it. Okay. There was nothing deliberate about writing that book. It was just a story I wanted to tell.
Okay, what that also tells me, honestly, so let me go back to when for the very limited time I was a journalist, because I wasn't really good at it, right?
Oh, I'm sure you were good at it.
Oh, no, I'm way
but
better at
whatever.
communications.
Yeah.
But, like, I'm way better because I would become emotionally involved. It was like, I love this author. I love this person. Like, they have a good attitude.
I
Like,
want somebody to feel that way.
But honestly, think back to this. If
Hey,
I was
get
talking
off.
to you, it was
Get
like,
off.
so without all of the understanding of the framework and the format and stuff, you got a book published.
Mm-hmm.
You got a murder mystery published, which is probably even harder because that's a more complex
Especially when you
thing.
don't know it's a murder mystery.
Right, but like, you got to give yourself so also think back then, it wasn't as categorized as, right?
Yeah, because this was before the digital revolution, really. Because it was a small but a really good press in Toronto, and it was a Canadian press, so Canadian dollars and all that. But yeah,
She got a freaking book published, her
since
first
then,
book.
I've mostly been with digital first, not entirely, but mostly with digital first publishers who they put it out in ebook first and then in print on demand afterwards. But this was a traditional publisher in the true traditional sense. But
Also, you didn't sell, like, and I have a lot of respect these days for self-published people that do
Yeah.
it right,
Yeah,
right? But let's go back to, I remember the first time, and honestly, I wrote the stuff, when I worked at Maclean's, I wrote the stuff that people read when they went to the bathroom. I mostly wrote the people page, right? I did other
Which
stuff.
is the interesting stuff.
But it is, and it was the most popular page, and my lovely,
That's amazing.
my lovely editor, Barb Brighton, who has the best eyebrows.
eyebrows.
And what I would work for was her going, "Good job, Atherley," right? And it was like, and honestly, it didn't come often, but when it came, it was like, woo, I won. But the other thing is, so I'm back there, maybe a little earlier because I'm like 3 weeks older than her, and I'm back there hoping to get a paragraph. And you
Right.
wrote a freaking book, man.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
honestly, you got to give a
Yeah.
book is not like, a book is hard, right? And eventually, until like, at some point, she's actually going to give herself a lot of credit because I have so much admiration for the fact that, first of all, you did that and you've kept going. And every time you've kept moving on and you have certainly refined and done a lot of stuff. But it's like, you got your freaking first book published. How many people
It's
can
unusual.
say that?
It's an unusual thing. And then I went through a dry spell, of course, for several years where I didn't get anything published.
Let me now take down my achievement, and but which is a Canadian thing also from your background. You have a hard time, so I will sing your praises. But I think it's a really big accomplishment. And one of the things I think is that we often do as women is we brush aside the big accomplishments,
Yes.
right? And what we can do as women
true.
for each other is say, nope, that's an accomplishment.
That's true.
Right?
That's true. That's so. Thank you for doing it. Here.
Woo-hoo.
Have some
more
wine.
bubbles. Here. But you know what I mean? Like, I think it's a really big thing. Like, honestly, like, I just wrote this love note about the podcast. Me and Rox talked about it, and it was like, we could do it. We're having happy hours. We could do a podcast. And they were like, we could do a podcast, and we're going to do it. And we knew
she's relentless.
Crap ton.
I'm just going to say
we knew nothing.
She's relentless. But we're like, when we started this, we're basically doing what we're doing here. We're having a conversation, and we're talking about things that matter to us, and we're talking about how can we be better? How can we stretch ourselves? How can we do the things that scare us? What are the things that scare us?
Also,
what
how can we say, wow, that's really awesome?
Totally, all those things. And then we suddenly realized, like, because this was during COVID, we're out there underneath our electric blanket, 6 feet apart, in front of the fire, because we're being, socially responsible and trying not to get anybody sick and all that. I gotta let my dog out.
Okay, but that's just it. So we were like, well, what's the worst that could happen? And honestly, it took me, until I was 25 to realize, what's the worst that could happen? It could not work.
Well, that's when we went, you know what? Because we were actually trying to invite other people to come to us and like, oh, we're having a great time. We're having happy hour. And do you want to join us? Oh, it's COVID. Like, do you have an electric blanket? Can you sit in the back? We're freezing our asses off here.
Yeah.
But we're having, and we thought, let's just record it. Let's see. Let's start. Well, to be fair, it was you who started, because you start everything. You're the instigator.
I'm a pain in the ass is pretty much what she's
saying.
saying.
But also, I'm kind of open to going along with things.
Here, hang on. Mm-hmm. She is all in, but what you have to do is crack the door open a bit so she can see it, right? Like, and it's not that she won't, and it's not like it's not her ideas, because she'll say stuff and I'll be like, okay.
And then I'll be like, what? Wait, what? You're going ahead with that?
And then she's all in. Like, honestly, I couldn't wrestle the editing out of her hands now because she freaking loves it.
I do love it. Yeah, I do love it.
And she's good at it.
I want to do
it.
Like
the thing is, and I think that's the magic of it. I might blow open the door, but once I get in, I'm like, what the hell do I do now? Right? And that's where Rox comes in, and she's like, oh, so we could do this and this and this, and here I can do this because, actually she never says this, but she's better at it. and she's more detail-minded. But the thing is, we took on this big, hairy, audacious idea, and we're still doing it. And you know what?
And we're doing it. We're not doing it well. We're doing it as well as we can. And it may
I think it's pretty freaking awesome.
I think it's pretty freaking awesome too. But like, this is the thing though. Everybody should be doing the thing that they want to do as best they can. And it's not going to be perfect.
What they said about if you're not the best singer, sing anyway.
Anyway.
If you're not the best artist, make art.
Exactly.
Just do the thing, and we're having fun.
Yeah, do a podcast. I mean, come and pop in and say, oh, you guys, like, I loved when you flubbed up this or whatever. Like,
oh, we're gonna flub. Oh, and really, that's part of our brand.
It is part of our brand because that's the thing about being human. Oh, and here I am going to do a pitch for this book again because I finished it the other night, and oh my God, you have to take that with you to Thailand. The idea about embracing the imperfections of being human, because none of us knows what we're doing. We're all just doing the best that we can. Some of us think that we have a template for whatever it is that guides us.
And then you get kicked off the path. And you adjust and you accommodate
and you learn and you try something new.
And you what's the thing when the GPS is like
reroutes you?
What's it called? What did they say? They say something.
Redirecting you? Rerouting
you? When you screwed up, they say something that it's like
You hit the wrong button, you idiot.
Yes, stupid. But oh God, Ray, you should tell us what we're saying. But it is like, but that's exactly. And sometimes the detours are the best part.
Yeah.
Right? Like honestly, I might have thought it was going to be a video podcast, but I told Roxanne it was just going to be a podcast.
She totally, what's that called when you...
Bullshit?
Yeah, maybe. There's some of that. But yeah, I got drawn into this thing. And then afterwards I'm like, video? it's not the worst thing. We're kind of watching us, but you know what? Whatever.
I actually think
it gives me an idea about when I need to get my hair cut. You know what? Watch editing. I'm like, ooh, you should have got your haircut
also,
2 weeks ago,
look at her
honey.
freaking eyebrows and eyelashes. Like, seriously, I need to get makeup lessons or a facelift at some point.
But
I actually just saw a car go by. We never see car goes by.
Car goes by.
but like, we're trying something here that for us is new, and I know we're not the most polished, but if we were sitting at your kitchen counter having happy hour, it wouldn't be polished.
This is what it would be. Yeah.
Right? And that's just it. And so since Blue Sky, I have to say, and we'll do a little bit of love for Blue Sky, but since Blue Sky, we're getting more visitors to the website, and eventually we'll hopefully lead some people to the YouTube channel, because we need to get more people following that. But honestly, we get people that do tell us this really matters, and there are lots of people that are watching it, because we've had a big increase, right, recently, and it's like, I hope we're bringing some kind of comfort, engagement, fun to things, and that people are feeling, especially those people that might not have the ability to have a kindred spirit next door, right? Like, we're lucky.
Well, and I think what we're trying to do and to encourage each other to do, you're really good at this, encouraging me to speak the thing that I might not speak unless I got a bit of encouragement to do it. You know what I mean? And
Bubbles.
And Bubbles helps, yes. But that's partly, like, circling back to my writing, that's what's changed over the last 20 years is I have decided to stop censoring myself and write the story that I believe is important. And it's not necessarily, like, for my career-wise, I could write differently if I wanted to reach the widest audience or make the most money. If it was just about the money. If it was just about the money, I could write differently. I have tried. I wish that I could do that, because I'd love to be a New York Times best-selling author of household name books that get made into huge things. Oh, now he's
where you could buy me a house in Spain.
I'd love that. I'd love to buy several houses. One for you, one for me, one for each of our husbands.
And the kids.
But I can't.
But that's not at your heart.
That's not at my heart. And, I'm old enough now to be like, I want to write the stories that are important to me, that I think need to be told, that I think I have a voice to tell. And they're not going to reach everyone. They're not going to appeal to everyone. And I don't care. They will appeal to the people that want to read these stories, the people that need to hear what I have to say will need it with their entire heart. And they will embrace it with and the rest of them will be like, "That's a stupid story. It didn't make any sense to me." Whatever, that's fine. You're not my audience.
You said the thing that should never be said. But so let me tell you. So I was very young. It's okay. I was very young when my maternal grandfather passed away. I mean, I was really young, but I remember him telling me, if you have made one good friend in your life that would come to your aid even at their expense, then you've lived a good life, and vice versa. You have to be the person that would do that for them. I've been lucky enough to do that with several people, but I think that extends to your book, Roxanne. It goes out to people that maybe need to hear the thing, because honestly, I read a fair amount. Sometimes I read things that matter. Sometimes I read things that are just distractions, and lately I've been reading a lot of distractions. But I think if you could touch one person with anything you do, and that's kind of like this podcast. Let's say, especially these last books, the series you did, 4 books, and it talks to somebody who has been struggling with something, right? Like, if you reached one person, then all that, because this was a hard series for you.
This was a tough one for me. Yeah, this was a challenging one for me, and it didn't start off challenging. Have I been drinking your wine? Okay. Well, I guess we'll find out later.
We'll see. If I get a cold or she gets a cold or whatever it is. But right? But it went deep.
It went deep. And this is what I try to do when I'm writing. For me, I don't know what the point is if I'm not reaching into myself to find something deep and to say something truthful. I'm trying to, because yesterday was launch day for my latest book, I'm right in the heart of all of the marketing part of it. And I had to write, blogs and different things for different sites, whatever, to talk about the book. And I was talking about, trying to think which place it was, where I've totally lost the train of my thought here. That's train derailment.
But that's okay. But honestly, this book went deep into a bunch of things that are really serious topics for people about adoption and giving up a child and finding family. It went real, so I'm saving identity. It. But that's just it. I'm saving it for the flight to Thailand, honestly.
Because it's how long a flight?
Well, I thought it was 13. Paul said it was 16. On the way there, it's 13 on the way back. So I don't know. But it's late at night.
Well, that's time enough to read a book.
Well, but that's just it. But the other thing is, so your books, with the exception of A Dog Named Valentine, which
that one's a pretty straightforward romantic comedy.
It's a good beach read, right? It's really fun, and it has some good messages in it. It still talks about a lot of things that are outside of the mainstream, right?
Okay.
Right. You talk about relationships.
Hey, get off.
With people that are older, right? With the elderly, you talk about, and I'm trying to think. Yes, yep. Because the whole dog and the whole dog and the there's an elderly, if I remember right, but there's a whole.
That's right. The grandma is an important character.
And then also rescuing dogs. And there's a lot of there's more in it than just
I enjoyed writing that one. That was a good one,
and it was good.
Yeah.
But it's this one, and I have to say Roxanne's kind of irritated me because she wouldn't tell me who she wouldn't tell me all the things
were there. The clues were there.
And I'm sure once I read it, I'll go back and go, shit, they were there. But the other thing is and it would make me sit up and think, right? Because I've never been in a position where I had to think about having a child, not having a child, giving a child up, right? And so it's one of those things where it's this goes deep, and it felt authentic, right? And I know, because I know you went into it, right? And so I'm looking forward to it, although I do understand that maybe she acknowledges that Sauvignon Blanc is better than Chardonnay in this. and also she might have named some garbage picker Ruth.
No,
she named somebody Ruth.
I named a nurse. I believe it was a nurse.
Oh God, because I'm such a good caregiver.
You are a good caregiver. I'm looking for. I thought I might read a little post here that I put, because I had to do a bunch of posts for the launch day stuff, and I excerpted a piece of the ending of the book where the JP Malone character reappears, right? And he does a little speech to Honey, his character. And I mean, I write this stuff and then it's gone. It literally leaves my mind. So afterwards, to do the marketing stuff where I'm, showing people different pieces of it and talking about it, I have to really lift my brain and move it over here to do that. And create a meme and put some graphics to it and make it look pretty and all that stuff. And afterwards I went, oh, I'm tearing up. I'm reading that. I'm like, oh, that's so nice. And people were really connecting with it. They're like, oh, that's so emotional. It's so beautiful. Right? Oh, I really want to read this book. I'm like, well, read the other 3 first. It won't make sense otherwise. Right. But I went back. I'm like, okay, that part, at least I really did that the way I wanted to do it. I'm really happy with how that turned out. Right.
But and the thing is, honestly, anything that's this big a project, there are always going to be I could have done that. But that's only in hindsight when it's all done, and you can't go back unless you don't release any of them. And then honestly, you'd be the Michael Jackson in the studio. You'd be reworking it all forever.
Totally.
Right?
I can absolutely see that. I often think, if I only had more time, I could make it better. And these 4 books I released within 15 months, which for me is really fast. A lot of authors there are authors that can write a lot more books than that.
Our friend that you edit.
Yes. Oh my gosh. She writes faster, literally faster than I can edit. Yeah. But I can't write that.
That was you, Leanne.
Leanne, we're talking about you.
Yes.
We're going to change that. But so for me, that's a great deal of work in a short time.
And honestly, emotional work, it was digging deep, and I can tell you, because I walk the dogs almost every day with you, and it was Roxanne dug so deep, and the thing is, most of us don't ever have to do that, especially for things that are outside our sphere, right? You did the research, you talked to people, you did these things.
Yeah.
And yet you made it so real and relevant that I cared about the characters, like so much so, like I'd be up in the night reading it because when I couldn't sleep, I'd be like, okay, I'm going to read this. And honestly, mostly I listen to Big Bang Theory because it means nothing. And then I'd read it and it would be like, it's freaking 3 a.m. I'm going to phone her. And I want to ask her what, and to her credit, I have to say, because I am relentless, right? She wouldn't tell me the resolution or
I can't keep a secret to save my life. So I don't know how that happened.
I don't know, because maybe I didn't try hard enough. Maybe I didn't give her enough bubbles. But the thing is, like this is a huge accomplishment because this was an important series for you to write.
I'm really
say it out loud. It was a good accomplishment.
It was a good accomplishment. I'm very pleased with how this turned out.
It.
So you know how when you're watching the Olympics and you watch that gymnast who's doing their crazy things that moment, and then they land and they go this at the end, and sometimes they're like, and it's like,
how it feels?
I didn't land perfectly, and I wobbled a little bit on the landing, I think, but I still stuck the landing. I still finished it the way I finished it. Did I finish it the best way it could be done? I don't know, but I finished it the best that I could do.
Also, perfection is freaking overrated, man.
That's it. So that's the thing. Like I always, as I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, if you weren't giving me so much pressure, if I didn't have to do it so fast. But would I do it any better if I had more time? I don't know that I would. For me, I require a certain amount of pressure in order to find that. This was more, my doctor would say this was more pressure than I needed to finish this book right now. So I'm going to take a break for a little bit. But and the next thing I write, it's going to be probably a little more laid back, probably not for a publisher, probably for myself. I'll release it for sale. But does the time required to do it, like just because somebody writes fast, do they write badly? It's not necessarily that way.
No, the other side of that is you did this. So let's take the financial equation out of it. And I know money is important to everybody. I hear Ray. Do you want to come and talk to us, Ray? You want to come and say hi?
That was a really definite no.
He said no. We're going to say nice things about you in a minute.
And now he's nodding.
He nodded. But like, let's talk about the things, because it has become clear. And honestly, I like money. I really like money. I like traveling. I like bubbles. I like living in a nice house. I like living next door to these guys.
I'm a fan of capitalism.
But the other side is sometimes the reason you do things isn't about the money.
That's right.
I will absolutely do things for the money as long as it lives within the values we all have. And I mean, but it's one of those things, like sometimes something needs to be done. And honestly, Rox, like the fact that that Valentine's been optioned, and what was the other
Sunset Bay Sanctuary?
Sunset Bay,
yeah,
right, has been it took 25 years to get there because you stayed true to yourself, and that's what we're all looking for these days. I don't want a shit movie about a billionaire that screws the world and finds his love. What I want is something where there's an actual hero.
Well, and that idea of authenticity in art, and I was reading something earlier today. I don't know where it came from, but it was about art, and how art is the first thing when times are tough and the physical things that you need, like clothing and food and housing and all that stuff. Yeah, art you do not need to live, but art is the thing that makes life worth living, right? So for me, I need to be able to tell something that matters to me. I need to be able to tell a story that matters. So if I can do that in a short period of time, in a short book, and make some money, that's great. If it doesn't make any money and I'm still telling the truth that I want to tell in that story, and I'm using the craft that I love, and I love language. I really love language. I'm
oh my God, just for the record,
I'm annoying in how much I love
language. She recently edited something because she works with us at AHA. She recently edited, and I don't even know what that word meant. She said, this is a blah, blah, blah. And then she put a note and she's like, look at this. Are you impressed? Blah, blah, blah. And she laughed. But it was like, oh my God.
Because that's what tickles me. It tickles me too. And I love it when I see it in a book. I read it and I'm like, oh, I know why that hit me so hard, because they use these conjunctions in a way that is, and because it's so much of art is, if you love if you love a certain thing, you're going to know how it works, maybe instinctively, whether or not you actually know.
Was that Ray or the dog?
No, my dog just fell down the stairs again. Oh. He doesn't know how his legs work. But, you know, for me, like seeing behind the curtain a little bit and realizing, and I love to like say, well, that was a case of anadiplosis, or that was polysyndeton. I feel super smart when I say that. Like, I feel so smart. Really smart. I'm like, look at me.
Okay, let me tell you this story, honestly. So we're working for a commission of inquiry, and it was a really, really grown-up topic. And it was we had to get, it was security clearance. It wasn't top secret security, but it was secret security clearance, right?
It was serious. They sent us computers to work on.
They sent us like encrypted computers to work. Like it was
couldn't work on not the thing that you're seeing this on.
It was it was a freaking serious, like we were all kind of panicked. Like,
and they were PCs. Freak.
Oh, they were so hard. And we're lucky we live next door to each other, because we would bring things over to each other, but we would have to hand them over because it was serious, right? So then Roxanne's like writing it, and there are these like,
what do I know?
Some of the, but we're editing and stuff, and Roxanne is like, some of the best freaking lawyers in the country are reading our reviews, and one of them is like putting notes in the edits we've all done, and I tend to do it for messaging, and Roxanne does it for the framework and language and all the things, and they were like, I trust you guys, and I know you're good, but I don't know what this means. And it was like, thank God we have Roxanne, because it was like, and it was so funny, because even when we did the wrap up like call, and it was just me and the lawyers and the commissioner and Paul, and they were like, you guys are smarter than us. It was like, no, Roxanne is smarter than you. Like, we're not smarter than you.
And I right now, I will say that is Margie Lawson. I've taken so many Margie Lawson classes, and she's taught me more about language and the use of language in how to, when you read a book that hits you right here, your solar plexus, your heart, whatever, there's a reason it works. And some writers can do it instinctively, and she's the person who goes in and says, that's why this worked. Here's how you can do it too. Okay, also, except you said, like, you're putting the adverb before the blah, 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 and then you would say something else ridiculous where it was like, I don't even know what that means. Like, honestly, and I grew up at McLean's, right? Like we had to know the things. But honestly, she'll say stuff about how words work together, and I'm like, I have to Google it. Right? But the other thing, like, part of this, and this is what we're talking about, the joy, is like, you're doing this, and I know we're privileged, because honestly, I think you also could have, had you and Ray not built a great, right, veterinary thing,
world, is you could have cranked out, those things we all read at the beach that really never lived there. Mm-hmm. It wouldn't have filled your soul.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah,
they may not. I promise you, she is so.
They may not have cost me the blood, sweat, and tears of this last series.
But you are so much deeper, because honestly, I'm kind of fluffy. Like, honestly, I wrote the stuff people read when they were in the bathroom, right? Like, seriously,
I love that kind of stuff. But you know what? Like, part of the problem with this last book that I had, and this was a challenge for me, and there were challenges on a personal level, but there were also issues because I get the cover. They create the covers for these books around the time that I pitched the idea for the book. And so I got this cover. I'm like, oh, that's a pretty cover. That's lovely. But then I also need to make the story
fit
match the cover. And as I went through books 1, 2, and 3, I realized, oh dear, that's actually not. And yet I need to stick with that. That's where we've gone. That's what I've given them. I've committed to that. So I now need to kind of adjust my thinking. So I was working against myself a little bit with this one, which was challenging. So the next books that I write probably will just be absolutely no pressure, no publisher. They'll be self-published if I do them, or I'll pitch them to a traditional publisher somewhere.
And we have a fabulous graphic designer who you could say, Marcel, do this. So Marcel of...
Oh, Marcel is
Prism.
wonderful.
Oh, my God.
Prisms and Pinnacles and Prisms.
We'll put a link. This woman is awesome, but you can't have her because she's busy with us. But that's just it. But let's talk about Roxanne, because one of the things I think is beautiful is the support you've had, right? Like, so our friend Julie, Like there's lots of people in this community have been really supportive of your books, and they're really supportive of stuff. Our friend Julie, for sure. Like we were talking about
Julie's
how lucky
amazing.
we are.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So when we moved here, Ray and I moved here first. You guys moved in just under
almost
a year
later,
almost a year later. You guys were there, and then within a couple of months.
Yeah, like we moved in September, and they moved October. They were here for Halloween.
Okay, they were across the street. So I don't know how it. Like as soon as I remember, actually, the first day you guys got here. Because we met some friends of yours first.
Oh, they came. They were walking around from.
Who was that?
We lived next door.
Remember who that was?
Lisa and Dave.
Oh, that was Lisa and Dave. Okay.
And they came up to see because they were because then it was all open because we're supposed to be a gated community.
There was nobody living in your house, but there was somebody in the house next to you, and they had a dog, and they've left, and they're dead to us now.
Better hope they don't watch this.
We love them, but they're gone. So, and they had a dog, and our dogs used to run back and forth. And I'm like, we need to not do that because someone's going to move in here eventually, and that's not cool that we're using their yard as a run through. But then they moved in. Julie moved in, and we were like, this is the best corner ever.
We're lucky. We're really lucky.
And I don't even. Oh, I remember the day you guys moved in. Paul was up
husband,
and I was making pizza, and I brought some pizza, and I had wrapped them.
She brought like unbaked. So we just had to put it in the oven, which is really lovely.
Also throw them in the freezer.
And also, I love Paul, but he's stupid.
You know what he said to me?
Oh, we already have dinner.
Yes, we just brought pizza home from somewhere.
Boys, man.
And throw them in the freezer. That's totally fine.
Also,
but that's kind of, and that's probably the last time I made a good pizza, actually.
Oh, she makes good pizza.
No,
those flatbreads.
Well, but anyway, that was kind of when we're like, we both like food, we both have dogs, we both like talking about stuff and drinking bubbles. I think this is going to work. And then Julie appeared, and I don't even know how that happened, but suddenly the three of us are friends.
It was during the pandemic, and Julie appeared, and I can remember being up because Paul's office overlooks where Julie's house is, right?
He overlooks the street. He sees everything.
He does. But I remember her walking up, and she had a long skirt and a jean jacket on, and it was like,
she's too pretty.
I think I like her, right? but
Julie, we love you. But
oh my God, you are too pretty, and together. But also, then I think it was Halloween. We invited them over because we did Halloween.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
And it was COVID, so we were trying to figure out whether we were going to hoof things at people or what we were going to do.
Kids are coming.
Yeah, and they came over, and it was really fun, and we realized we loved her. And the thing is, she has been so good for this community.
Oh my gosh, she has given so much, and she has so much knowledge.
So she's
a designated paralegal.
Right, which is kind of like a nurse practitioner, so she can give legal advice. She can do all these things. And honestly, I have a lot of lawyer friends that I really love. Julie's as smarter than most of them because she is a smart human and a compassionate human. And then, but then also, let's talk about it. We are so lucky. We have Bev and Rob who are next door. She just gave me a lot more of those bubbles than she's going to pour. But we have Bev and Rob that are next door to us, but they are lovely humans. Every time any of us have a party, they're invited. We have Ray and Roxanne who you know Roxanne. You don't know Ray as much.
Jazz hands.
Yeah, but you don't know Ray as much. Ray is like
Ray and Ruth are very similar,
and he's like the freaking brother I never wanted, right? And I have a couple of those, and you know what? He and I can butt heads, but he will tell you how he's authentic and he's transparent, and he tells you how he's feeling.
He doesn't mince words.
No, and also, just because I know he's listening, he's not always right. But you know what? He also pays attention and will battle it out with you in a good way.
Loyalty is one of his. You know how everybody has a core value, and one of his main one is loyalty. Okay, also because I know he's listening, he's a pain in the ass, yes, but he's a good human. He actually might not be because he's got. So we've talked about. He's got the virtual headset on, and he's golfing. He's golfing upstairs right now. So,
but the other thing is I do. He and I can. And we do butt heads because we're a bit too similar. Except we've got each other. We can be pissy at each other, but God help the person that comes at us about the other one, right?
That's right.
It's I get to say he's a pain in the ass, and he gets to say I'm a pain in the ass, but God help you if you come at one of us to the other.
We all feel this way about our family, right? I can slag my family all I want. No one else is allowed to do that. They're just not.
Right.
And like, you're so good about that, you know, but you don't have much family left.
I really. I got a sister, man.
But that's, you know, Ray is kind of that way. He's like, but he doesn't mince words, which is challenging for a spouse sometimes, but also, I mean, we've been together for so long, 36 years, I think. 36, is that right? Why am I asking you? Why would you know? I don't know. I can't do math. So anyway, a long time, but we've learned to work our different personalities together. And I've learned to really value that ability to say things as they are, say the truth and just like no embellishments. And he's learned to be like, okay, I may have said something that was hurtful or too abrupt or whatever, and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
Let's address it, because the relationship is what matters.
Yeah.
And
also, his intention is always good.
His intention
right?
is always good.
And honestly, I know my execution is not always good, but my intention is good. So I respect that, although sometimes I want to punch him. But the other thing is, I'd rather know where I stand with somebody than somebody bullshitting me.
And
right?
yet you like me.
You don't bullshit me. Tell me, man.
I bullshit all the time.
You're a writer.
That's fine. It's fine.
Seriously,
I'm fine.
You're full of shit.
Yeah,
I know that.
Well, and you can read my tells anyway.
Yeah,
so
she's got tells, but you have subtle tells. But the thing is, so like let's just think about our little corner. So we have Julie, who is magnificent, and JD, who are exceptional. Right, they're good humans.
They're very.
Right? We're
they're
really
good
lucky.
human. And because we're in such a unique community where it's 129 homes, which isn't super small,
but it's not really big.
But it's not big either. But it's big enough.
But it's also social. We have a community center.
Yes,
we do events together.
Yeah.
We have things that are like, we have a pool where we all go. We have events where we all go to. It's a gated community, and we hang around. Like honestly, once you kind of get in here, it's a bit like a compound. Like you never kind of want to leave, because you find
you don't
the
have
people.
to leave. If you find your
you can
people,
get groceries delivered.
You can get groceries delivered. Yeah, it's true.
But we have Julie and JD. We have me and Paul, who are a bit quieter about the community overall, but are like support staff. I guess is the thing.
And
we
same
are
with
definitely
us. We're probably kind of support staffy.
Yeah. But then and we have Michael and Helen, who we love. And
Michael and Helen are fantastic. They're
awesome.
so
my God,
great.
So lovely.
And Michael has done so much for this community also. He cares so deeply, and I love him.
He's a sensitive soul.
I think that's what connects. What we see about him is he is a sensitive, and he sees the needs that people have, I think, in a way that maybe not a more purely administrative mind might see.
He sees the more of the heart of it. And I think Julie sees it too, but she also can detach and see it from a legal thing, like we need governance, we need this, we need that. But Julie is a sensitive soul, right? Like the other thing is, like, I have to say, Michael was one of the first people that watched the podcast, and I don't know if he still watches it, but he does watch it, and we're really grateful, because he was one of the first people to talk to us about it, right? And like,
we're like, what? You watch our podcast? What? And my voice got all squeaky like that. But like, he's in our demographic for sure. But I think most of our audience is probably women, and probably Helen watches too. I don't know. But Michael, something about, I think, the honesty.
He's
or
soft.
That's what appealed to him.
He's got a gentle heart. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't be soft, man.
He's like, is it okay? Can men watch this too? And we're like, yes.
Actually, men bring a lot to this, right?
Absolutely.
Because the other side is, I think whatever gender you identify with is like, that brings something really important to the table, because we can't all see. If we all see from the same perspective, then that's a bunch of crap. But so you bring different perspectives, because and there are times where we've seen it where Ray says something, it's like, wow, I never saw it from that way.
Right.
Or Paul says it.
Yeah.
And Michael will say something. JD says something.
Yeah.
And it's like, we see the word, and honestly, Rob next door and I love him, and yet I see his posts on Facebook. He and I have very different political views. Not Trump. Just saying, we have different.
That's a line.
Views.
That's a
right. Oh, that's a line. Like
far.
I'm yeah. But we still because what he cares about is community.
Yeah.
So what he thinks about big government, small government, what the provinces should or should not do, what social services, like he's open to things, and so am I, and that's all you need in the world, right?
Yeah.
Is I completely get it, but I think we're really lucky, and we're really lucky in this community that primarily we have these really good people who care. They might not care in the same way, or they might do something, execute the same way I think they should, but they care enough to get involved, and that's what we need in this world.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. People who are willing to say, you know what, this is what matters to me, and I'm willing to step out of my comfort zone and actually work for it. And there's a price to pay for that, right? And I mean, my husband was president of his professional association years ago, and it at a time where it was in turmoil, and it ended up being a really difficult time that was necessary for the association. Actually split apart. One part became this part, one part became that part. And so Ray likes to talk. He's like, yep, I was the president who took down the BCVMA. Yeah. But in fact, he had to be there. Somebody had to be there for that. But it took a toll. It took a toll on us.
Emotional.
It took a toll on him. He paid, there was a certain professional price that he had to pay for that.
Yeah.
It was hard on him. It was hard. When you take a stand, some people are going to hate you, and it is hard to be hated.
And it is, even if the haters are assholes, right? Like I have to say,
even if you don't care about what they think,
but
it still
exactly,
hurts.
And that's just it. Like I think about, and not to get into the U.S. election, but it's like it is one of those things where even when you're standing for the good things. Yeah. When people keep coming at you, like honestly, so Blue Sky, we've referenced it a bit, but that's the other thing. What I'm seeing on there more and more and more is people saying, I'm so grateful to come on here, and I am too, where I don't say something and I have 100 people coming at me saying I'm an asshole. Right? And because who's coming at them are the bigots and the racists and the assholes, right?
The bigots and the racists, they're staying on X.
Yeah, and
they can stay there.
And they're kind of pissed off because people have left. Right, and that's just it. And the thing is, when you stand for what's right, there is a price to pay for it. And the challenge being, and I'm still struggling with this, especially with the U.S., there is a price to pay for it. And sometimes people don't want to pay that price, so they go along, right? And I think for us, we're lucky in this community because we can have our differences, but we figure out a way to respectfully work it out. And I think the world needs to learn that a bit better because, man, we suck at it right now, right? And I think we're lucky because I don't always agree with everything my neighbors say, but you know what we do? We figure it out, right? Like I was just saying, like there's always a price to pay, even when you're on the side of right and think there's a price to pay because somebody's going to disagree because either they're misinformed or they're selfish. Yeah. Right? And the thing is, in the U.S. right now, there is a price to pay for being a Democrat. There sometimes is a price to pay in a small community for being the one that tries to listen to everybody.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And as much as this is a great community, I'm glad we have our little corner where, like, we all get along about like it's a bit different with us and you and Ray and me and Paul because we're kindred spirits and it works, and also they golf, so they're all good. But the other thing is, like, we don't have any issues about you haven't raked your leaves, you haven't done this, right? Because honestly, and with Bev and Rob, it's good. With JD, who has the most immaculate lawn I've ever seen, right? But you know what? He never comes over and says you need to rake your lawn. He doesn't do that. He might think it, but he never says it. Yeah, you're right. I'm sure he thinks things about our lawn that are not fit to be said. But also he realizes. But he recognizes that this is his value, not ours. Right. And it doesn't matter if we don't rake our leaves as fast as he does. He doesn't judge you as humans. No. Right? And I think that's it. Like, we're really lucky in this community. We have some good people, and I think that Ray and Julie and Michael are among the best because, honestly, by the time this comes out, we can say they're all running for council here, and I think they would be great. Like they would be a good. And it doesn't mean I agree with everything they think should happen. No, it means I trust them to govern us. Exactly. They will be looking for what is best for
all of us. Not just what is best for Ray. Ray's like, he is, I will uphold the bylaws. If the bylaws don't work for 3/4 of the people in Creekside, then we change them. Then we change them. But if the bylaws that we have all agreed to have stand and govern our community here, if that's what we all say work, then abide by them. And if you don't abide by them, then you're going to get your hands slapped. You're going to get fined. You're going to get told to change your ways.
But that's the law of the land,
that's
right?
The law of the land.
And the thing is, if you want the law of the land changed, then get
go
3/4 of the vote.
The process.
Do the challenge,
follow the
right?
process.
And that's just it. And I think the challenge is right now for the world is we're seeing these upstart self-involved people, and I'm not talking specifically about Creekside, but I think what we really need are good humans that step in and say, I can see different sides of it, and maybe this works, and it might not be a thing I agree with, but I'm okay with if the majority agrees with it, because that's friggin' democracy.
That's democracy. If that's what most people want here, and here, like in our community, we had a thing last year that 73% of people wanted that didn't get passed because we needed 75%. It's still a majority of people, so we'll address that.
So we need to, in my opinion, your opinion, we need to revisit it.
It's still
73 is a lot.
A majority of people still want this certain thing to happen, so we revisit it, but we go through the channels. We follow the process,
and you find a compromise to either bring the next 2% on, or the next 5%, or the next 10%, right?
Yeah.
And
but you make sure they have the correct information,
right?
You want to make sure that they have
but that's a really good point, right?
Because that's kind of essential when you're making decisions.
But it also goes back to, right now, one of the biggest Google searches in red states, can I change my vote?
Unbelievable.
Right?
You told me this a couple of days. I've been thinking about it since then. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? These people didn't know that their vote was final.
But which goes to the fact that they listen to misinformation, right? And the thing is, so take that from that big perspective and take it down to a little thing. Facts matter. And so that's partly why, I mean, it's not like we're going to start being a news channel, but partly why we want to do this is to make people find these little moments of, I need to question this. And honestly, I need to question it because I listen to things that fit my perspective.
Of course.
So our friend Della she came and stayed next weekend.
I love Della.
Everybody loves Della. But what she said she did was she looked at the Blue Zone stuff, right? Because she wanted to know, she was looking at what is misinformation, right? Because she was following the Blue Zone,
states, the areas.
The Blue Zone,
the longevity thing.
Oh, and she said as she dug into it, it's bullshit.
I need to know more about that.
Yeah. So maybe we'll get Della on as a guest to talk about this.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Because first of all, for the other political stuff, she went down deep dark holes, and I mean, it really emotionally affected her.
Yeah.
But she said she wanted to do a test case about questioning the things that we all believe, right? Oh. And she said it's bullshit. And she said she's still doing it.
But I want to believe.
Right?
I want to believe that I can go to Greece and drink red wine and live to 110 happily.
Della's coming
with beautiful Dimitri.
Because,
and my husband.
Freaking Dimitri.
I don't know how that's going to work.
But Dimitri could just serve us coffee. We don't need to see Dimitri naked, right?
No.
But so we'll have to, when she's here, because she's coming for Christmas, although I've canceled Christmas now because I don't believe in anything, and we're having Festivus. But when she's here, we should do a podcast.
The festival for the rest of us.
Yes, the airing of the grievances. So what we're going to do, although I think you might not be there.
Hey, get off.
It's so funny, he knows where his treats are. But we're going to get some branch, and we're all going to, and so Christmas Eve, are you here Christmas Eve? Could you come Christmas Eve? Anyway, we're going to write things down and fold them up, and we're going to put them on this branch I'm going to find, and then we're going to throw it into the creek because it's all going to be biodegradable. And the next morning, well, actually, we're going to do it all that night, and then we're also going to do
That's why, never mind.
Oh, and then we're also going to write our hope for the next year, and we're going to put it in a little jar, and I'm going to keep it, like your love notes I gave you.
Oh, I love those.
And then the next morning, we're going to go drink bubbles and throw it. You'll still be here because you won't have left yet. We're going to drink champagne and throw it into the to the creek because it's all biodegradable, and we're going to get rid of the grievances, and we're going to do. Also, I sound really drunk as I say this. Can you edit this and make me sound smarter?
Sure.
She's lying. Anyway, we're going to do the airing of the grievances, and we're going to do our hope for 2025. And I'm going to take that little thing and I'm going to bury it in the backyard.
Yes.
So the universe.
Well, if it's
absorbs
biodegradable, we can throw it in the creek.
No, it's a glass.
Oh, that doesn't work then. Never mind.
I might keep it or something.
Okay.
But we're going to figure it out. But we're going to, for sure, we're going to put the grievances in the creek.
My dog's lying on the floor like he's given up on anyone ever feeding him.
Okay,
like
we're at 20 minutes. We gotta go.
We gotta go.
So we've got something else
what
to say?
Did we do anything that scared us this week? I can't talk about that. I released a book this week, and everything about that scared me.
That's a big one.
Everything about that scared me. It was,
and she did it, and it's a good book.
I am happy that it's done. I am happy that my readers like it.
I'm excited for my 16-hour flight that I get to read it, and I can't phone you.
What scared
and say,
you
what
this
the hell?
week?
Well, you know what I did? I reached out to a community group that was what's the word, Rox? That was assuming something.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Yep.
And so they were assuming something that I would participate, and I said, I haven't agreed to that, and I'd like you to take this off, which was a really big thing for me.
That's hard to do.
Because I'm a contributor, and I'm happy to be there, but it wrinkled me that they made an assumption.
Yeah. That's good. And that's challenging to do that.
It's really hard.
To address something like that and say, no, don't do that anymore. Don't do it that way anymore.
Don't position me as a supporter of this. And I'm not saying I wouldn't, but don't use me.
Don't do it without telling me.
Yeah. Don't make the assumption that I'm yours to throw out there.
What are you grateful for this week?
I'm grateful for you. And I'm grateful for the books that you write because honestly, like again, let's go back to it. You write interesting, engaging, sometimes funny, sometimes fucking irritating books. Because honestly, the heroine. I keep saying heroine is not a good word in my. I grew up in downtown Toronto, man. The protagonist is that the word?
Yes.
Okay. Drink Chardonnay, man. I can't like her.
Nope.
I can't trust her.
So this one drinks Sauvignon.
I know that you switched because I nagged you enough. But anyway, you write great books, and I am grateful that I get to be a little tiny bit of the process when you're walking.
Well, I am grateful for your support and understanding in my process because we walk, as she's mentioned, and she has listened to countless. I mean, you probably could count them because it was 3 months between book and book. So that means whatever, that's 90 days. So it's 180, because if we walk twice a day, of I fucking hate this book. I don't know how I'm going to ever finish it. How I'm going to, I didn't, etc. ad nauseum. She's listened to that. And
also,
you helped me.
The characters had a life of their own, and Roxy had to wrangle them. And but honestly, that makes me incredibly proud. Also, I'm kind of grateful that we had a 3-beer lunch.
It was a
impromptu.
It's been quite a week, but this was an impromptu thing. It was just like, hey, let's go for lunch today. You know what?
We've never done this.
We've never done that before. We went for lunch today. We had 3 beers, and then we came back and had bubbles and talked to you guys. And we love it. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thank you for listening to us with our
for an hour and 20. Almost 24 minutes.
You know what? We tried to go short. As I was going through our old ones today, I saw the ones that were 35 minutes. We're like, what were we trying to do?
We did. We were doing every week then.
Twice. Like, that's just ridiculous. Every week doesn't work.
But honestly, thank you. And you can just put this on when, when you're not home to keep your dog or cat company. And also the neighbors know. The burglars. 3-beer lunch and a bottle of bubbles. You sure you don't want to make a cameo appearance, man? Okay, he's just shaking his head for the record. Okay.
We are done then, I think.
We love you guys.
And we'll
have to figure out how we're going to do it from Thailand.
More of, Ruth?
I've had enough happy hours for today, but I want more happy hours.
We want more happy hours.
What do you want? Less of?
Less bullshit. Absolutely. Thank you guys for being
Have
here.
a good weekend.
We will see you again soon. Bye.